What's up, gang? Welcome back to the Brad Bodnarchuk podcast. As always, I am your host, Brad Bodnarchuk. That never changes. I'm always myself. I'm excited to be here today to give you a solo podcast. I was hoping to line up some interviews and dive deep into dissecting other people's minds when it comes to how they look at leadership and how they are effective leaders in their own right. However, today I wanted to take the time just to ask a question to anyone that is out there listening that may be in a leadership role, whether it be in business or in a local community or just any sort of group, or heck, even in your own household. And the question is, do you suck? Do you suck as a leader? And the reason I think this is an important question is because we need to be able to answer it and answer it unequivocally. And hopefully, when we hear this question, anyone out there again who identifies as a leader in any way, shape, or form, hopefully right away your answer is no. And I would believe that the majority of people listening to this that fall into that group would give that answer. However, I will challenge you in asking you this. How do you know? How do you know that you don't suck? How do you know how good you are? And I've talked about this before on the podcast. I've talked about this a lot in the past. It is the requirement of us in all facets of our life to seek feedback. Now, I'm lucky enough to be a partner in a relationship with two healthy kids. And I believe, fundamentally, I believe that I'm showing up in a way that is me not sucking as a partner and me not sucking as a father. Although it would be ridiculous of me to walk around making those assumptions. It would also be really unfair of me to walk around making those assumptions without asking for the feedback from the very people that I'm making the assumptions about. And I just finished reading not that long ago, the 4 agreements. And one of those agreements is don't make any assumptions. And I feel like so many of us in leadership roles make assumptions. We're so busy on our businesses and we're busy doing business things, making decisions about buying this or selling that or hiring this person or firing that person. But we aren't actually giving time to really understand if we suck as leaders or not. And what does that look like? It looks like something as simple as having either a formal or an informal process in place where you just sit down and you talk to those people, all the stakeholders in your group, in your community, in your business, and you ask them, likely on an individual basis, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm showing up for you in the way that you want me to show up for you. And our kids right now are 4 and 3, so that type of framing of a question might not work for them, but I'm constantly doing whatever I can to let them know that I love being their father. It's an honor being their father, and I want to show up for them as best as I possibly can. And doing the same for my partner, obviously in a little different way. It's about, hey, how did I show up for you this week? Do you feel supported in our relationship? Do you feel like we are a team? Do you feel like we're headed in the right direction? Do you understand my values? Do you feel like I understand your values? Do you feel like our values are aligned? All of these are extremely important questions that are not only going to allow me to understand how my partner views me, but it's also going to allow for me to do almost like a temperature check to make sure that we are still aligned, to make sure that things are still trending in the right direction for both of us. And there is no reason that we can't do the exact same thing. Obviously, it's a little less intimate in a work setting, but do the exact same thing in a work setting. So what does that look like? It looks like booking one-on-ones. And again, it doesn't have to be super formal. It can be very informal. You can book a meeting with someone without them even knowing about it. And what do I mean by that is you book it into your schedule, Mr. Leader, Mr. CEO, Mrs. President, Mrs. CFO. You book it into your schedule that for 90 minutes on a Monday, you are just walking around. You are just moving in and amongst your business. And in those 90 minutes, you are looking to talk to as many people as you possibly can. And when you speak to them, you are asking them questions that you need to know. And it's not about the business. And it's not about anything quote unquote high level. It's about how you are showing up for them. It's about, do they feel supported by you and the rest of the leadership team? It's about, is there anything that you can be doing better as the leader to support them in their role or on a given project? When we hold space, and what I mean by hold space is when we take time out of our days to actually do this, the ripple effect is such a positive that I'm hard pressed to believe that if you did a practice like that on a Monday for 90 minutes, that your business wouldn't succeed, that certain pain points you're having in your business wouldn't be completely alleviated. And why is that? Because it's about your people. And you can't look me in the eyes, just like I can't look you in the eyes and tell you that I don't suck as a leader if I don't have any data to give you to back that up. So while I believe that I am doing a great job, and I believe, again, most of you out there listening that identify as leaders would likely say that as well, but based on what? Based on the fact that your business is successful, or based on the fact that you feel like home life is great right now? Again, whatever the dynamic is. However, we can't walk around, like I said, like the Four Agreements talks about, Don Miguel Ruiz so eloquently writes, we just cannot make assumptions. And that's something that I feel like I witness with a lot of my clients. And this is not a slight on them. It's just old programming, if you will. There's assumptions being made all the time. Oh yeah, no, I think I'm doing a fantastic job. I think I'm a great leader. No, do I suck? Definitely not. I don't suck. And perhaps me even saying that is a bit harsh, but I want for it to be jarring a bit. I want for it to be a question that people stop and actually pay attention to and listen to and actually work to answer as accurately as they possibly can. Because I do believe fundamentally that a lot of us as leaders do suck. Doesn't mean we suck as people. It doesn't mean we are bad people. It's just, I question whether or not you are a great leader. Or not only that you're a great leader, that you're a great leader right now. Is there something you could be doing to better yourself? And I believe there's always something we can be doing. And that's the tiring part. I say this to my clients at least 3 times a week. That's the tiring part about being a leader, is that you're never not a leader. Meaning there's always something you can be doing to improve your situation. And when your situation is improved, I believe that everyone else that works with you, for you, on your team, their situation improves as well. And there's consistent opportunities for us to check in with people and see how we are showing up for them as leaders. And walking around making an assumption that we are a great leader is not only inaccurate, it's also ignorant. And I don't want that for anyone. So, a quick podcast today to ask you the question, do you suck as a leader? But then give you the ammunition, the steps that you can take to check in to see if that is true or not. And before I officially sign off, I want all of you that decide to participate in this exercise to be incredibly vulnerable when you are asking this question. Be courageous. Have thick skin. Allow for people to be 100% authentic with you, because then and only then can you actually fully understand what it is that you're dealing with. And if people are going to just give you the answer that you want to hear, so if you ask someone, hey, Brad, do you think I suck as a leader? And they don't trust you in your reaction, they don't feel like they can actually be vulnerable with you, they're likely going to give you an answer that you want to hear. So you may need to do some groundwork first and figure out, hey, do my people that I work with, does my team actually trust me? Meaning, do they feel like they can be authentic with me all the time? Because if they can't, that's a whole other podcast and that's a whole other issue that we need to work on, because that must exist first. Trust has to exist before anything else. And if it doesn't, I would argue that we already answered the question. You do suck as a leader because your team doesn't trust you. And again, I use that title just as a bit of sticker shock, just to grab you a bit. And I don't mean for it to be harsh. I'm sure you don't actually suck as a leader. Maybe you do. I don't know. But what do we need to do? We need to find out if that is true. And I would love the opportunity, if we haven't already connected, to do that together. Allow for me to walk beside you and help you figure out how you are showing up as a leader with your team, with your community, again, whatever the dynamic may be. I absolutely love this work, and I love asking questions like this because I believe it keeps us really honest, and it also keeps us really humble, and it also keeps us really connected to our people. And if our people aren't right, I can almost guarantee you the company isn't right. So today, if you don't know the answer to the question, or you feel like it's a heck yes right away, I'm going to ask you how. How do you know that is the case? And if you don't have the data to back that up, let's go out there and find it. And if we need to, I'm here to help you find it together. That's it for me. A quick one today. I want to thank you for tuning in to the podcast. If you feel like this short podcast would resonate with someone else, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would share it with them. I also want to make sure, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe and leave a rating. The ratings piece is a massive boost for the podcast, for any podcast, whether it's a 5-star or you're actually typing in, I love Brad's podcast and I don't suck as a leader, whatever it may be. That would really help me go a long way in growing this podcast and growing this message. You guys know what to do until next time. Be good and do good. And I'll add one more thing to that. I want all of you to do one thing today to seek growth. That's it. Have an incredible day. Peace.